Have you ever seen a basket as big as this? I've been waiting to arrange in this basket for such a long time, and I didn't feel like I had the quantity of flowers that was suitable for it and the style of flowers. Now today, you can guess, I'm going to create a basket arrangement. I was given this by one of the ladies that comes here to do flower arranging classes. She ordered it off Amazon and she couldn't quite work out the dimensions and ended up with a basket that was way too big for her to use. So what is her mistake is my gain, and I've got the opportunity now to create a beautiful, very summery basket arrangement in this container. Now this I would probably refer to as a trug, and sometimes these work really well for funeral designs because they sit beautifully on top of the coffin. I'm anticipating I'm going to keep it quite low and maybe about this sort of length, depending on the choice of my flowers. I've used the Fibrefloral, which is the more environmentally friendly option for foam. I do have some soft stem flowers, so I'm hoping it's going to work, and there is a little bit of damage on the corner here of my foam, so I'm anticipating that it's going to be a bit tricky to get flowers in there. But the foam is just sitting comfortably in the middle. If this was for a funeral, I would have to tape that in. But because it's for just a tutorial for today, I'm going to leave it sitting in the bottom. If you are going to deliver it or give it to somebody as a gift, then you need to make sure that your mechanics are stable. Now what I'm going to start by doing is adding in some greenery. I don't want to put a lot of foliage in it because I'm hoping that I've got enough flower combination. But what I am going to do with the greenery is just use it quite low in the foam to give me a bit of ground coverage and to hide the foam. Sometimes when you've got lots of delicate flowers like I've got today, you can still see through them to the foam at the bottom. So I'm almost using the foliage today to camouflage and to hide my foam. Quite often I use it to create the outline shape, but today it's there to hide my floral foam. And you could use moss, you could use some large flower heads like hydrangeas to do the same effect. But that's just going to give me a little colour there at the base, and that's exactly why you need to attach your foam at the bottom, because if it's going to slide around or it's going to be moved about, it's going to fall apart. So that gives me just a very simple bit of base coverage, and I'm also going to add in the variegated euonymus. I think you might have seen this once before, but I'm going to use that in quite a minimal quantity because it is quite eye-catching and I don't want it to detract away from all my amazing flowers. So small little bits, again tucked down low, is going to help to hide my mechanics. Now I used this one for the double-ended spray or the top table arrangement that I did a couple of weeks ago, and if you haven't seen that arrangement, I can link it here so you can pop back and have a look at it. And I used a really summery selection of flowers in that as well, but a different set of flowers to those that I'm using today. And I've got a bit of a mixture today. I've got some supermarket flowers, some locally grown flowers, and some florist grade flowers as well. So a bit of a mixture, and it's a really summery bright colour combination that I think is going to work well. Now with this type of basket, you need to keep enough room under the handle so that you can pick it up. So I don't want any tall flowers in here. If you want to make arrangements that are taller, then they would follow a different pattern and a different style. But I'm going to keep my bigger, more focal flowers more towards the front, and you can see that they're quite short because I've used them in something else, but they're going to be great in this arrangement. And what I'm doing is just distributing the colour yellow from front to back. So you can see the sunflowers at the front and you can see the sunflowers at the back. Maybe that one's a bit short, but from where I'm looking at it from, it looks fantastic. Because it's a high-sided basket, you need to be quite mindful of not cutting your flowers too short. But I do have quite a big selection of flowers today, and the next one is going to be my Gerbera, and I'm a bit concerned that I'm not going to get the Gerbera into the Fibrefloral because it can be a bit tricky to arrange into, but I'm pleasantly surprised it's gone in really well. And slightly longer ones are going to help bring that colour towards the outside. I think I've probably got maybe 7 Gerbera altogether, and that's going to fit nicely in there. The style of this basket is definitely symmetrical and quite traditional, so what is on one side needs to be on the opposite side. And I'm just hitting the greenery here, which is why I'm having a bit of difficulty. But I'm trying to get this one and this one to the same length, and I can tell already that that is too short. So we're going to pop that in on that side there. Ooh, that one was a bit tricky, but we got it in. So Gerberas on either side, which help to make the design symmetrical. And then with the 2 that I've got left, we can work the same colour towards the middle of the basket. And I've actually got one already on this side, so we'll work this one more towards the back. Now, if you're fairly new to arranging flowers, then an introduction is probably good at this point. If you haven't been here before, my name is Sharon, and I teach all different types of floristry and flower arranging. And you can see that I am now getting a bit of difficulty with that 1 Gerbera there, but we did eventually get it in. And if you are new, then you might want to consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell to be told every time I upload a new tutorial, and you'll get the opportunity here to learn lots of different types of floral design. And today we're focusing definitely on something that's quite summery and very traditional. Now, this is a commercial astilbe, but you can grow this quite successfully in the garden. The season in the UK here is sort of in full swing at the moment, so you might have some in your garden. But it's a very thirsty flower, and if you're not careful, you can see the tips of these are slightly sort of nodding forward. And that's because it's been left out of water for a very short period of time. I feel they're not quite good enough for shop work. They're not good enough for me to send out to a customer, but that means I get to show them and share them with you. It'll still be important if you're cutting them from the garden, or you're buying them from the supermarkets in a mixed bunch of flowers, or you're collecting them from a florist shop. Make sure that you get them home and you get them into water straight away, or you take a bucket of water with you when you go out to the garden to cut them. The issue with these was that the day they were delivered, I wasn't very well and I was a bit late getting them into water. But you know, these things are sent to try us. So what I'm going to do now is just give them all one cut and then start really randomly placing them in. So what you have at the front of the arrangement is also at the back. And what I want on the side is on both left and right. Very, very traditional, symmetric proportions and style of arranging. And under normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't get the opportunity to use such an abundant array of flowers. It's just that these aren't good enough to go out to a customer. And I'm filming today on a Saturday, which means they're not going to get used up. So I'd rather show them or share them with you than them go to waste. So that's lovely so far. Really light and airy, quite on trend at the moment with these very soft garden type flowers that give you that nice whimsical look. The flower I'm going to go in with next is Alchemilla mollis. You might be very familiar with this because it's a garden flower. It's this very zesty, limey sort of green, quite a fresh colour combination. And this acts as like a little filler flower, very much like Gypsophilia would. And it brings in that just picked look that is definitely very much on trend at the moment. Now, what do we think of that? Isn't that amazing? Just fantastic. I'm brave tipping it forward for you to see. And I'll pop it back down. Now, my next one is a spray carnation, and you might have seen spray carnations a couple of times with me on the channel. It's not a really popular flower to sell to customers, but it's a really good one if you're arranging flowers for the first sort of time and you're learning. They're a strong, robust flower. They can take a lot of handling. They last really well, and they're normally a very economical price in the supermarkets or your florist shop. If you are new here and you haven't watched a tutorial before, then I tend to encourage people to do flower arranging with both supermarket flowers and garden flowers, as well as ones that are bought from the florist shop. I know that not everybody has access to a flower shop or has the budget to be able to spend out on expensive flowers. The channel was created to help everybody learn to arrange flowers. And this, I think, is a really easy one to do, particularly if you're beginners. And you don't have to do it in this grand scale. You can create something smaller, but following the same principles. This is a radial design, so all the stems come out from the centre. It's almost like they're growing from the middle of my basket, and they're growing upwards and outwards from the centre. It's a fairly easy design to do, and you can replicate it in different containers. And next I'm going to introduce an ordinary white rose. Now, I had these into the workroom this week for buttonholes. You can see it's a nice dainty little head. It's not too big and cumbersome for a groom or an usher to wear. And I've probably got 5 here, 5 or 6, and they're slightly damaged. My glasses will help at this point. They're a little bit knocked and bruised, but they're good enough for me to use for today's demonstration. Sometimes when you're at a supermarket, there are flowers there that are reduced, and if they're looking fairly good, you can always just remove a couple of petals and use that bunch of flowers to create a really pretty design. I don't mind an odd little mark or bruise on my rose. Now, this side of the foam where that damaged section was is definitely harder to get my flowers into. It's got a bit of resistance while I try to push the flowers in, but that's looking really pretty. I think this side is slightly higher. Now, next of all, the flower of choice is going to be this lovely achillea. Now, this is a florist grade achillea, and I'm quite lucky because I grow this in the garden, but it's not ready for picking yet. And this is a beautiful sort of apricot-y peach colour. If you're not familiar with it, it's one that's quite easy to grow. It's a perennial that will come back year after year, and it comes in a really big choice of colours. I've got the paprika ones that are more autumnal, and I tend to use them more in the autumn than the summer. But they are just gorgeous. Now, I've got a lot of flowers at the moment towards the middle, so now we need to bring some out to the edge, and that one did snap. So take my time a little bit getting in that piece. And then what we have on the left, we need to have on the right. There's definitely a bit of resistance there on what is the left-hand side as you're looking at it. And then my final few pieces of the achillea. So a really seasonal basket of blooms for today's tutorial. I think that is so, so pretty. If you've spotted on the camera, you will see just over here to my right, that's Lavatera, commonly known as mallow. And it's left over from a wedding bouquet that we did earlier on in the week. But it's quite a big, cumbersome flower. It doesn't work quite well as individual heads. And my plan was to incorporate it somewhere into the arrangement. I'm going to try it. And I'm not sure if it's visually a bit too heavy, but we'll have a go. And if I don't like it, I will take it out. So that's what it looks like at the moment. You might have been able to work out by the expression on my face. I'm not too keen on that. It's a bit too heavy. I'm going to try and cut it in half so that we've got a couple of smaller stems to spread out, and that might work in my favour. So let's see how that works. This one is from a local flower farm, so we do quite a lot of wedding work. Oh, I quite like that now. I've changed my mind. I do quite like it. So I do quite a lot of wedding work that's more environmentally friendly, with flowers that are from the local vicinity, no plastics, no tape, that type of thing, no floral foam. And this is just one of the flowers that was left. I'm lucky here because I've got the choice of 2 flower farms. That one doesn't have any flower on it. It's looking a bit sad, and I'm going to keep this one because I'm anticipating that that's going to turn into a seed head and I might be able to get some seeds from it. I think I probably need to get a couple of overhead shots for you because you're looking at the design front on and some of the flowers are hidden by the sides of the basket. But I've been so looking forward to filling that with summer blooms. I think that is worked out so well. I love it. That for me is your garden in a basket. And I hope you've enjoyed that one. We haven't had a very traditional design for a little while. So thank you as ever for watching. Stay till the end of the video because you get to see some close-ups of the floral design. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so because it really does help the channel grow. Hit that notification bell if you want to be told every time I upload a new video, and ask questions in the comment box underneath the video if you've got anything you don't understand or you would like to learn. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.